welcome to the business show. Welcome, everybody. So glad to be back. We've had a 3-week production break. I hope you guys have enjoyed the reruns. For the guys of that's missed it, hope you've learned something. For the guys that's rewatched it, I hope you've learned something, guys. And remember, the reason for this show is so that we learn from entrepreneurs that's more successful than us. And by maybe learning one thing today, you can advance your journey in becoming a successful entrepreneur.
And this is the beauty of doing it live. There's no cuts and fixes, and this is all live.
Exactly. Eugene. Hope you had a nice break. My man, thanks for hosting this with us. And let's. We're super excited to have today's entrepreneur on here. But Eugene, for anyone that doesn't know who's EHQ, maybe just give him a quick rundown, and if you can then introduce today's super entrepreneur.
Cool. Yeah, thanks, Willie. Thanks to my amazing co-host, Will the man. And it's good to be back. I just got back from Afri-Ski. Myself and Willie went to Afri-Ski for a snowboarding trip, and then I went again last weekend with my girlfriend.
You are addicted now.
Now I'm addicted. My next trip is Colorado, so I'm quite excited about that. Once the lockdown provisions lift, and I'm meeting Colorado and doing some snowboarding trips there. But let's get into the show, guys. So what's EHQ about? Firstly, go follow us, Entrepreneur HQ, on Facebook and on YouTube, and then share and comment. This is how we learn, is by sharing valuable content and things that matter to us. The show is about our give back projects to myself. I'm from Van Studios with our nice branded shirts that we got back now. Really from Value Smart. So we sponsor the show, guys, and it's purely there to firstly be a bit of entertainment, and then secondly is to help you learn more about areas and expertise from other entrepreneurs that's specialists in certain areas. So I think today's show is nothing else than exceptional Mohammed from WWISE. We've partnered with Mohammed probably for the last 10 years already, so I've known him for quite a long time. Just a super successful entrepreneur and a genuine human being. So super excited to have him on the show today. So I think, Willie, let's get Mohammed on and start the show.
And the crowd goes wild.
Hey, Mohammed, thanks for joining us on the show today, and excited to have you on. I know you guys are busy, so thanks for taking the time out your schedule to come and share your knowledge with us. All right, before we get into anything else, maybe just a quick introduction. Tell us a bit about you and a bit about your business.
Sure, no problem. Thanks so much for having me on the show. And wonderful intro to both of you and Willie, Eugene and Willie. And I'm sorry to disappoint the audience. I mean, I'm sure you guys were all looking for Muhammad Ali,
I was going to ask, is it your cousin perhaps?
A lot of people do that, Unfortunately, I'm not related to him, but it's a nice name to have. It's always a nice punchline to start every meeting with, and it's a little bit of a cut to break the ice, I suppose. Goes down every single meeting and engagement with. So he's an idol of mine, and I really look up to him. I think he had a very sharp tongue, but he could also not just talk it, he could also walk it. And I think a lot of his particular attributes have resonated in towards where we are as a business today and where I am as a human being. So just a quick introduction. My name is, as ironic as it may seem, Muhammad Ali. And I'm a business owner for an organization called Worldwide Industrial and Systems Engineers, WWISE for short. It's easier for you to note that. And we've been in existence for about 12 years now. And we started off with humble beginnings. I am an industrial and systems engineer by profession with a master's degree from the University of Pretoria. And whilst I was busy studying, I was given an opportunity to work at automotive leather company manufacturing seat covers for Mercedes-Benz. And I was introduced to an interesting solution called ISO standards, where we were there required to implement quality management systems, environmental management systems, health and safety, and as well as the automotive. At that time, it was called TS 16949. So I got a lot of practical experience in implementing these standards and then calling certification bodies like the SABS or TUV NWID or BSI to come and audit. And that's where my experience in terms of implementing the standards grew. I then moved on to a company called PBMR, Pebble Bed Modular Reactor. and that's where I assisted them in terms of process engineering, something a little bit on the in the industrial or operational technology side. And fortunately, one of the people from the government saw me and present, and they were like, "Wow, this is really great." And they asked me to start off my business, and this is where I am. So, us as WISE, what we do, just the short and sweet answer is we help companies implement different ISO standards,
Okay.
any national standards or governance frameworks. And we are basically the ones that work with you. Our unique selling point is the administrative alleviation. Traditional consultants tell you what to do and you must do it. We work with you, we do the work with you, and we take you through the certification journey and make sure you get certified so your business is credible. That's basically who we are as a business.
Cool.
Yes,
Sounds
that's
like can get quite complicated and stuff like that. Tell me, Mohammed, um, have you always been an entrepreneur, or when in life did you actually decide that you're gonna make that leap of faith?
It's a good question. That so I think my first entrepreneurial skills probably came up when I was in primary school. What I used to do is when they used to have fun days, I used to always ask my mother and sister, who are very amazing cooks, to cook me pizzas, and I would actually, on fun days, sell the pizzas, to our colleagues and parents, and that's probably the first time I remember, having a little bit of entrepreneurship exercises. And then the cell phone covers came up. If you remember the 3310,
Yeah.
6110, 8210.
Yeah.
And, I used to always buy cell phone covers and try and sell them in school and try to make the odd 5 Rand or the 10 Rand or whatever it may be to just
uh,
get some sort of income. So I think that's where the first time I think I had a little bit of a funny bone when it came to entrepreneurship. But I never thought in my life I'd be where I am right now. I was always focused on being a ordinary employee, if you want to call it, with a vision of having a budget to work with every month and being able to live my life accordingly. And yeah, I am where I am today because of
yeah.
probably those humble beginnings, if I can call it.
Yes, that's cool.
Tell
It's
me, Mohammed, before Eugene asks something, are there some of those skills which you've learned during those first, those eventual ventures which you still apply during your business
Still
these
today,
days?
negotiation is probably the best one. Convincing someone that this is the best pizza. Trust me, you're gonna enjoy it. It's gonna be sweetening and more. Always using the Indian thing of curry and flavor and making it think that it's gonna be worth it. Was always a thing. And obviously with the cell phone covers, it was negotiating and always trying to be able to show the value in terms of what the product would do aesthetically and how valuable it would be. I still use those particular skills, as immature as it may have been that time. There was a lot of things that resonate in today's time.
Oh, wow,
yes,
this is
very cool.
interesting.
One of the benefits about being employees, you get a paycheck end of the month. Being a business owner, you don't always get the paycheck due time.
Correct.
Mohammed, something that's interesting for me is I think there's a lot of people and a lot of other entrepreneurs that had the same opportunities as what you guys said, and they just never managed to take advantage of that. And I remember when I first met you, you guys were still quite a small business. Now you're a massive business with massive offices and you're doing work worldwide. It's absolutely insane how you guys have scaled. What do you think is one of the biggest differentiating factors from where you were back then and then most people stay there versus how you guys have scaled?
I think the biggest thing is you as a business owner and entrepreneur to believe in your product and your services. That's the
Okay.
first thing. You need to be passionate. You need to believe in it. And there is one measurement of success, I feel, and that is failure. So you are going to fail. You are going to have the tough times. You are going to have those months where you're not going to be able to receive an income. You're going to have to work with your staff to be able to motivate them towards a vision. And you're going to have very strong perseverance. For me, I always believe that people don't generally buy a product or service, they buy from a person. So for me, it was very important that I engage with clients. They believe in me, they can see my vision, they can see my passion, and they believe in me being able to deliver. Because for me, it was never always about the money, it was always about delivery and making sure I get work done. To a certain point where our strategy changed, where we would only invoice after we did the work. So you first see the
Yes,
output at the end
that's
of the
cool.
month. You see my output, and you willing? So you must feel comfortable in paying an invoice instead of giving that deposit, where people are sometimes a bit concerned on whether or not they're willing to take the risk with you, because there's a lot of one-man consultants out there that do what we do. But personally, we felt that being a one-man show, when we started off, there was a unique selling point that we had. A lot of people didn't want to do the administrative work, that is standardizing, creating policies or processes or procedures. We did that with the clients. So not only were we doing the hard yards with them, but we were also educating and training them. And I think that's the key thing: is you need to identify your unique selling point in your business from your niche environment. You need to believe in yourself. And when you go to your clients and basically portray the message of wanting to do business with you, they must feel the passion and resonate with it. And your whole idea must be delivery. Don't chase the money. Money will chase you, once you have the credibility and reputation to get there. And I think that's been the key success
Yes.
of us being a
Wow.
small company to then being into a bigger organization, because that's when word of mouth gets out there and they say, this guy can deliver. And if you want it, you will get it done for you. And that's when your trust builds. And I think business is all based on trust.
Yeah, definitely. Yes, there's like 10 nuggets of valuable information. Um, and that is one of the key things that stood out for me as well. Is one of our biggest problems in business. I think Vali dropped off now. One of our biggest problems in business is acquiring new customers. If you can generate new customers and then maintain your relationship with those customers over a long period of time, that's how the business grows. But most people get stuck in this thing where they keep refining their product, but no one's purchasing the product. And if you really believe in your product, you'll give it away for free, or not for free, you'll give it away and then only get payment afterwards. But we kind of get stuck before that. And that's actually a strategy I've been thinking about for a while. If I talk about it, then I start getting the butterflies in my stomach. But that, and then trust, how to build trust and credibility, and how do you deliver on a continuous basis? Because it's not just your product now, it's the lifetime customer value of your product. How long can you partner with this company? Because at the end of the day, business is a partnership. It's not I'm giving you something and you paying me. It's about the partnership around it. So yes, some really big nuggets of information there. And I hope you guys are writing it down and taking notes of this. As I mentioned, Mohammed has achieved a certain level of success. So guys, if you get advice like this, you need to listen. We tend to listen and then we want to respond. Yeah, I am doing it. Well, if you're doing it, then your business would be at that level. So, Willie, you back?
Yeah, I'm back. So I think I've
Load shedding.
not load shedding, scheduled maintenance. It's just another word for that. So Mohammed, you mentioned something is in this journey of growth. One of the things which made you grow into this successful business was yourself being able to communicate that vision and being involved with in acquiring clients. The question that I've got, and it's something that I think a lot of people struggle with, is a lot of times business owners gets their businesses up to a certain level because everyone wants to do business with them. But the challenge that they've got is scaling to the next level. And I think the reason for that is the business owner cannot communicate to its team this vision that everyone needs to take forward. How do you communicate this with your team? What do you do to get these guys on board to help you, grow to the next level?
Sure. I think that's a good question, Willie. I think it works twofold. So initially, when we started off this business 12 years ago, it was just a one-man show, just myself, and I did a lot of studying and I did a lot of reading to be able to note that when I go visit a client, they must feel that I am bringing something new to the table, something they don't know about, something that can add value to them, something that they will be able to get a return of investment quite quickly on. But present that with facts, present that with case studies, present that with references. And when I go there and I speak, I need to have the educational knowledge to guide them in the right direction, things that nobody else would tell them, and be confident in my approach. When I established that as an individual and I got employees in, the first thing that I wanted to see is if the employees, who are the most important asset in your organization, if they're willing to walk this journey with me, if they see that vision, if they are willing to be able to believe in what I am saying, willing to learn, and willing to work with me. And I picked people within the interview process that believed in growing, not in just, a salary. It's about
Mm.
being responsible, wanting to go the extra mile to be able to build an organization, and also the staff that were getting the work done, getting the satisfaction of customer compliments, and being able to see them grow. And once they started seeing the vision, then the culture was established. So we needed to establish a culture that, yes, you can work hard, but you can also play hard, but you can trust. And I think that is what created a culture for the staff that came in. So we were small for about 5 to 6 years. And then customers believed in us, and then we scaled to the next level. And the important thing is knowing how to scale. Like we believed in utilizing digital marketing as a unique tool. Now, digital marketing, there's, I mean, if you in the olden days, well, maybe I shouldn't give away my age too much, but if I wanted a electrician or a plumber, I would go to something called a Yellow Pages. And I think everyone knows what a Yellow Pages is. And then the for plumber and electrician.
It's
For the younger
digital
generation,
now.
100%. For the younger generation, the Yellow Page is that thick book that you generally get from Telcom, and you use it as a door stopper. So that's just something to note. So we realized that people, when they want business, they would go to Google. So we needed to be able to make use of Google. We needed to be able to share our storage, see our messages, pay Google what the AdWords were, create articles and a foundation for people to know that we are experts. So instead of us calling clients, they would call us. And that was our
Okay.
unique point of scaling. And then when we scaled, it's all about being able to deliver again what you promise. But everything, the most important thing is you don't ever overpromise, right? We would always put dates and timelines way above what the norm would be, generally much higher.
Yes.
And we would always deliver earlier. And sometimes
Okay.
would even save them cost. Now that's trust. You're saving me money, you're giving it to me earlier, and that's
Yes.
when we were able
Ever.
to do the scale that we are at right now.
Interesting.
No, that is very cool because we end up so many times putting ourselves under unnecessary pressure, trying to deliver and setting deadlines to impress the customer in the sales meeting when you should actually be impressing them when you're doing the delivery, when
Correct.
you're
Building that
executing,
trust.
not when you're doing the sales.
Yeah. And I think the one thing,
That's in me a few
Eugene, what I
times.
forgot to mention, and Willie, is that, you have to build on your assets, which is your staff. I always
Yeah.
invest in my staff, meaning training, education, applications. And even if they leave with that training, I feel that they will help the economy and come back to us because there will be an ambassador.
Yes.
So I don't look at training as a cost. I look at it as an investment. Similar
Investment.
to my product, I sell that product to or service to my customers not as a cost, as an investment. And I make them believe it's an investment. And if you
Yes.
can share that same sentiment with your staff and have that culture, they will be able to resonate that to your clients. They will
Yeah.
begin to believe it. And that's when basically your company can start expanding.
Oh wow.
I want
Thanks
to
for that
touch
advice.
on that as well, but I think maybe Willie can talk about that because this has been quite a tough period the last 2 years. Before we get to that, so on this journey that you've scaled, did you have mentors along the way, and how important was that in your business?
I think the biggest mentor, this might sound cliche, was my dad. Right.
Mm,
So my father was someone I needed a lot of advice from, knowing that what I do is very niche and unique. I'm the only information security auditor, ISO 27001, that's registered in this country, in South Africa.
Wow.
So
yes.
it's always a niche. So for me, it was always being able to position myself in a point where you are niche and you're required. So my
Yeah.
dad's advice was always someone that I would look to. I would always phone him. Him being a businessman, owning a few pharmacies, would always guide me to say, it's all about you positioning yourself to be able to see value in you, value in your organization. And I think that was the key component as a mentor going through it if I needed advice. But here's the weird thing: my staff, as much as you think they're your staff, they were also my mentors. They would guide, they would give advice, and I would
Yeah.
listen. And I would sometimes even take the risk of being able to do things so that they feel that they are also part and parcel of the business. And I
Yes.
think those were the two things. I didn't have a direct mentor. When I was doing my master's, I had a professor, Chris Ardendorf, who's unfortunately late, from the University of Pretoria, and he was someone that taught me, the basics of being professional, how you dress, how you talk, how you present a report, your margins, the old school way of how
Yes.
your needs to resonate with the aesthetics. He taught me that. And I think that's one lesson I've learned from him and been able to push down to my staff and obviously through our clients. So yeah, those are the mentors, I could say.
Yes, that's cool. And we sometimes forget how important one piece of good advice that you implement over how much money does it make you in the next 10 years?
Yep.
So, very, very
And
cool.
how often do we just brush off this advice? Yeah, no, that's not the truth. But yeah,
Uh,
Mohammed, so I've got one last question. We're running out of time. I want to speak the whole day. You've got so much to teach us and share with us. You mentioned that you guys have gone international, and I think there's a lot of South African businesses want to go international, but we've got this resistance, and we kind of we sit at the brain and say no, that can't be done. It can't be done. But you are sitting here, a live example of someone that lives in South Africa and runs international business on multiple continents. How did you start off with this journey of getting your business out there? How did you market it? Or yes, how did this start?
So it's an interesting story, this, So, the
mm,
whole idea is everyone has fear of growth. And a lot of entrepreneurs fear about how they're going to pay their staff, how quickly can I grow. And I am generally born with the ability of willing to take the risk and willing to take the chances. So with our product, being in South Africa, I found it as an opportunity more than a risk. A lot of people say, yes, there's challenges in our government, and that's true. But I look at it as an opportunity for me to be able to implement governance and make a benefit towards it. So every challenge that there is, there's an opportunity that comes in. Now, being
yeah.
in South Africa, there's one key thing that you need to note is the rand works to my benefit because the value of the rand is not as high as it is to the US dollar or the
Yeah.
Australian dollar. So when I go in with my pricing, right, I go in at a rate where people get shocked to say, you're offering this professional service at this cost. I mean, I've got professional lawyers, engineers, accountants, scientists, psychologists, all working at WWISE. And when I speak to the clients overseas, and the way I did it, my strategy was very unique. I spoke to the Department of International Relations and Cooperation, DIRCO, and I told them, look, this is something I have. Let's introduce me to the ambassadors of specific countries. Let me go to them
Wow.
Yes,
and
that's
tell
cool.
them
So we went
what
straight to
I
the
am doing,
source.
straight to the source, and let
Straight to
them
the
see
source.
what I have and how I can benefit their country, their
Yes.
SMEs, and their businesses. And it's
Amazing.
all about perseverance. When you go and see them, it's about making that impact. And I would make that impact and I'll tell them to do their due diligence on me and be able to believe in me. We were fortunate enough also to have a client that believed in us that's internationally based. And then what we'd do is we would take the risk. If there was a client in Australia, we would then open up an account in Australia, open up a business in Australia, and start marketing through a digital platform on social media, on all of that, and
Okay.
also have the relationships with them to build that. Now, when you've got one client, you try and build another client, you try and build another client. Right now, we've had a footprint of 16 different countries, and we've
Wow.
got physical offices in Centurion, physical offices in Cape Town, Gaborone, Botswana, Ghana, Takwa, and Australia, Perth. We've got warm bodies in there. We're also looking at getting a warm body office in Chicago, in the US, and a warm body office in Peru, Lima. And the whole
Wow.
idea is it's about having your clients to believe in you, allowing you to expand, but going to the source, going to DERCO and saying, you're the government. This is what I'm doing in this country. Do you believe in me? Why don't you give me the opportunity to speak to them? And once you speak to them and they start believing in you, they will open the doors and opportunities for you in their
Wow.
country. And when you start saying
Yes,
you'll
yes.
invest in their country, meaning open an account, and be able to take your experience and share it there and show them the value, because businesses only look at three things: cost, time, and quality. So if your labor is cheaper than those in those countries, it's a tick. Now it's about being able to deliver within the time. And we were always someone that we have enough capacity to live in time.
Yes.
And then the question came, Mohammed, What is quality? How can you prove quality? And we said, we don't just tell you ISO 9001, we also are ISO 9001 certified. So
Wow.
we practice what we preach. And this certification proves that we are being audited by a third party to be able to deliver. That's when the clients got confidence. They give you a short, small project. You deliver it well and you exceed their expectation. We don't just give them what they need, we give them more. And that allows us to build confidence and trust. And word of mouth is they would give their suppliers to us, their clients to us, and that we just expand.
Yes, that is.
Amazing. Amazing. Make it sound
I
so
really
easy.
hate this part of the interview because I always end up with so many more things that I want to know, and then we run out of time. Mohammed, so I'll ask one more question. I know everyone's busy. Vili, I think while we do that, maybe just pop up the website address. So, guys, if you do want to get in touch with Mohammed and you do want to get your ISO certifications in place, there's their website. Just go pop
There we
onto the
go.
web. I'll explain a bit more as well. And then get in touch and see if they can assist you in getting ISO certified. There's a lot of business benefits in that as well. Well, just I like the traveling part as well. So just curiosity from my side. You've traveled quite a bit and you've been to so many different countries. What was one of your favorite countries and why?
Sure. So, look, I'm going to give you two answers. One is from a holiday perspective,
Okay.
and one is from, I think, a commercial perspective.
Mm.
So I think from a holiday perspective, I've traveled a lot. I mean, it was a toss up between Switzerland and Maldives, and I think the Maldives take it over from a holiday perspective just because the way there's so many beautiful islands, there's so many different water sports, and the fact that, you can have your room in the middle of the ocean.
Yeah, that's good.
Amazing.
That's mind boggling. However, it is very expensive, so that's the little downside. But when it came to business, I've been to almost every continent, whether it's North America, South America, Europe, Asia, Australasia, and multiple places on the African continent. As I mentioned, 16 different countries. But there was one country that stood out for me, and specifically one city, and that is Perth. Now,
Wow.
because things work there. So let me tell you my first experience when I went to Perth. I went to Woolies. Now, you all know Woolies. We've got Woolies in South Africa, and you've got Woolies there. So I walked up into Woolies and I took what I needed to in my basket. And when I went to the teller, there was nobody there. And I was like, what's going on here? And, they were like, and I was watching everyone because I didn't want to feel stupid, so I was watching what people were doing. And they were scanning their own products and putting it in their plastic bag. And I was like, what is this? So, anyways, I did the same thing. I scanned, and I paid myself and I walked out and I was like, what is this? I mean, if they brought this to, Africa, where would they be? So the culture for me was an absolute different perspective. Then I jumped onto the bus. And when you jump onto a bus, you're definitely going to pay. It's free. Whether you're a foreigner, whether you're a
Wow.
local, it's free. So the city buses
Yes.
are free. And then when I get to the hotel, the service I got was not because I'm doing it because it's my job. It's doing it because generally I'm warm, and the cultures are very similar. The weathers are very similar. But for
Yeah.
me, the unique point is whatever you study in school or university, it actually works in Australia. And for me, what was remarkable is people don't like to hear this, but Australians come with a very heavy background with, people say they're convicts and all of that. But for them
Yeah.
to be in that country and develop it the way they have, gives me confidence. The tax is they pay high taxes, but the education system is great. The roads are great. The infrastructure is great. The
Yeah.
schooling is great. And that I think is where we're falling short. The education system in Australia is when you come out, you can take responsibility. You have the ability to speak. And these are government schools, not public schools. So their
Yes.
government schools are better than their public schools. When my colleagues and peers were talking in Australia, they were saying, we don't sell people to private schools. We send people to public schools because they're better than the government schools. That
Yes.
is what made me feel that resonates. I mean, there's other countries like Dubai, all fancy, countries, but Australia for me, and Perth in particular, made me
Wow.
feel that that's a country, or that's a city that we have a lot to learn from. And if we can implement those systems in this country, trust me, we would be denoted as a first world country.
Yeah, definitely. We've got
Amazing.
so many things. I've also traveled quite a bit in South Africa. yeah, just such amazing country. I've never been to a country where I sat there and I thought, wow, I would much rather live here than South Africa. Every time after 2-3 weeks, you're like, yeah, I just can't wait to go back home.
Yeah.
Definitely. Mohammed, thanks for sharing all this stuff. Sorry, I know we guys are busy. We're running over time now. We've got one last section. So this is called the hot seat. It's 5 questions that we don't prepare for anything. There's no explanation, just one word answers. Whatever is the first thing that comes to mind, just blank it out, and then we do 5 questions, and then we end off the show. So, Vili, do you want to go first and have the first question?
Yeah, I'll go first. So, Mohammed, if there's one billionaire that you would have taken for a coffee, who would that be?
Definitely Elon Musk.
Wow.
Me too.
I love that guy.
If someone came up to you in 10 years from now and they said we're going to write an autobiography about Mohammed's life, what would the book be called?
Float like a butterfly, sting like quality.
Hey, you will sell quickly. Mohammed, so what's the worst business advice that you've ever received?
Going cheap.
Yeah, great. I see a lot of guys make that mistake. And I mean, we're in the accounting industry. Man, the quality of work that's out there because everyone just trying to cut each other's throats. You know,
Correct,
it's just amazing. So one of the first things of advice that I say is, guys, don't drop your prices. You will end up
There's a
working.
value in you. You need to show that value, and they need to believe in that value.
Yeah, no, definitely. And then one piece of advice that you'll give anyone that wants to start a business.
I think it's never too late. You know, you can start today, but don't procrastinate. And know that 9 out of 10 times you will fail, right? And you need to know that that's your measurement to success. And you need to continue persevering and being determined for that goal. And you need to believe in it. If you believe in your product, you believe in your particular service that you're offering, go and fail again and fail the third time. Trust me, you might fail 5 times, but if you believe in it and you believe in yourself, someone will see that belief in you and trust you. And then they will give you that opportunity. That's all you need is a opportunity. And you will then
give me goosebumps.
What's the thing that they say? One client, one deal, one project, or something like that. Is the only thing that stands between you and something great in your life. Right?
100%.
So, Mohammed,
one question, Willie.
One question, last question from me. One outrageous thing that you still want to do in your life?
I think skydiving. I've done bungee jumping. I think skydiving is something I haven't done yet. Every time I try, it's the weather's not that great, And I think push your boundaries as far as you can. Enjoy life, And I think that's why I chose Elon Musk, because he doesn't think normally. He makes the word impossible. I am possible, and for me, I need to experience it as well. And I want to be able to push my boundaries so I know my Hooke's law, so that I can be able to try and be able to do outrageous things in my life, in my employees' lives, in my clients' life, and be an example to my family.
Yes. Wow. Really inspiring. Robert, thanks for your time. I really appreciate you taking the time out and sharing your knowledge with our viewers. Guys, go and check out WWISE.co.za if you want to see more about what Mohammed does. And as you can see, the client deliverables they have is just next level. So go and check them out. And otherwise, thanks, guys. Thanks for tuning into the show. There'd be no point in the show without you guys. So until next week's episode, have a great week, guys.
Yeah, and just from my side, Mohammed, thanks so much for taking time out of your busy day to come and chatting to us. And guys, hope you've learned something. Check you next week. Cheers.
100%.
Cheers,
Thank
guys.
you, guys. Thank you, Eugene. Thank you, Vili. Enjoy it.
Cheers.